let's pull up this next story here and talking about the decline. We got this from Timcast.com.
Oh boy.
U.S. House passes first assault weapons ban since 1994. Laughable, stupid, and a waste of time. And apparently some Republicans even joined in to support the Democrats banning nothing. Bill makes no sense.
Banning. No one knows.
Yeah, so I think this is a really good example, not of disarmament, right? A lot of people are saying they're trying to, I think Luke tweeted this. They're going to try and disarm you for their depopulation agenda or something. And I'm like, no, I think it's nonsense. It's logicless. They're not doing anything. This bill bans half. It'll, like Thomas Massey pointed this out. The Mini 14 receiver is banned, but the Mini 14 receiver is also not banned in the same bill and verbatim. So Massey points out the Mini 14 with a pistol grip and a collapsing stock is an assault weapon, so it's banned. The receiver of any such weapon is also banned, but the Mini 14 with a rifle stock is not banned, and the receiver of any such weapon is not banned. And so he points out, he's like, so how is the identical receiver both banned and not banned? And they have no answer. Mm-hmm. They literally just don't answer it.
It's all political moves. It's like, obviously, I'm in Canada, but right after you had the shooting in Texas at the school, Trudeau came out and banned transfer and sale of handguns, or proposed a ban the next day. And it's like, why? We're talking about a shooting in another country using a gun that's already banned in our country, and you're going to put a freeze on sale of a handgun that are rarely used for shootings in Canada at all, where we don't have a problem with this. Completely political. And it seems like the U.S. are doing that too, even though sometimes I feel like you guys have better laws around guns, better understanding. And then every time I think that, your politicians go and do stuff like this. I
just got to say it. Every time Trudeau does a press conference, it sounds like he's talking to someone he's about to rape. But I'm not trying to be like when he was like,
keep your voice
we need
down.
to ban all the guns. It's like it's the voice someone has when they're grabbing them and like, just relax, let me do this.
Put down the weapon, lady.
I'm taking your gun away from you. And then it's funny because you guys up in Canada banned guns like around the same time. It was like Uvalde, right? Mm-hmm. Trudeau announces they're freezing handgun sales, and it was obvious it was in response to a U.S. news story. But he also had previously complained up in Canada that Canada, with the trucker protest, is that American politics are seeping into Canada.
So true.
Yeah,
so
and then he
true.
comes out and it's like, come on, dude, spare me. I think this assault weapons ban is a perfect example of what the Democrats are. They have no logic to their morals. It's like we're all trying to figure out what are the rules and how do we live together. Among the Democrats and most of the left, it's just pure tribalism. So they're like, we're banning guns? Excellent. Does it make sense? Who cares? As long as you agree with current thing.
If there's a bill that is proposing to both ban and not ban something, you've got to discard that stupid bill, or at least remove that section from the bill before you can move forward. You can't even vote yes or no on something like that.
It's going to be really funny when someone gets arrested with a Mini 14 receiver and then they like sue and they're like, well, what's the logic there? Is the logic that if it says it's not banned, but then it says it is banned, therefore it is banned? You know what I mean? Like the negative is stronger than the positive or something? How does this even work?
I don't think they care.
Yeah, I don't think they care. No, I want to point something out too, because I think we have this tweet from Ian. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know where it's at. Yeah, here we go. This is perfectly in line with what we're talking about. Check this out. Ron Filipkowski, what was it named? Filipkowski, says Lauren Boebert wants the House to pass a rule to give her 5 days to read a bill before voting on it. He didn't say much after that. He just said this thing. But you'll notice a lot of the comments are people saying like, this is ridiculous. I can read a book in a day. But then Ian chimed in. Ian, of course, you should read it. It's your tweet.
Yeah, it should be a felony for congressmen to vote on a bill they have not read. I want them under oath acknowledging they've read the bill before voting.
Yeah.
Interestingly,
100%.
when Ian chimed in with that one, then you get some unity. Everyone's like, yeah, actually, that makes sense. But the crazy thing to me is there are so many people responding to Ron Filipkowski just making fun of Lauren Boebert for saying something that is quite possibly the most logical and bipartisan thing ever.
Yeah, I was actually very pleased with the response to this because, like, Ron has a Ukraine flag in his profile. So there was a part of me that was like, oh, geez, should I just assume he's some zealot? And it's like, you know what? What he said is just neutral. I'm going to respond neutrally. And then people in the comments, you see people with Ukraine flags saying, yes, this is actually a great idea. You see people that are like, I'm a Christian conservative. This is a great idea, like it said in their profile. So it's an American idea. And I think it's an idea that justifies or that supports like liberty. You cannot have ignorance in
Lauren's
Congress.
right. I mean, that's just it's just it.
Absolutely, at least 5 days. At least.
I'm
seriously.
shocked that wasn't a rule beforehand.
I
Like
know.
the idea that they're passing these absolutely
Disturbing.
critical rules for your country, and it's like not
it's
even a
worse.
few days to decompress and think about it.
It's
no, we're not
worse.
even. Maybe they can read it in one day. Great. Can they think about it and really weigh the moral consequences of the stuff they're putting into your nation?
It's worse than you realize, because Marjorie Taylor Greene pointed out to us. There's a giant cat butthole on the camera, by the way. Marjorie, what are you
Good
doing,
job, buddy.
Lucas?
Gonna rest.
Marjorie Taylor Greene pointed out that oftentimes when they're passing bills, they don't even have anybody in the room. It'll be like 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans, and someone who's not even the speaker will be like, "Oh, we got a bill here. It says this," and they go, "Oh, it passes." And so what they've been doing is the Freedom Caucus has like a watch where they go down and call. They call for like a roll call vote or something where they got to force all the members of Congress to come back in and actually vote on these bills.
Actually do their job.
Actually, yeah, but they're still not reading them.
That's
the crazy
crazy
thing.
Absolutely unconscionable. And people have pointed out in this Twitter thread as well that this is something that should have been enshrined in the Constitution from day one. It just assumed that they would be reading the bills because that was their intention. Was like, what? How could they never? How could they not? You know,
I would like to see I don't know if you guys have any knowledge of like if you could compare, the beginning of the US, how many bills were being proposed and passed at the start versus now. I reckon it's like a mass ramp up of stuff. Because it's super easy to just like roll out that rug, right? Oh, we can just pass and do things every single day, but it's super hard to roll it back. And I don't think things were initially like the Constitution was put in place for a country operating like this, where it's like ADHD. Let's just pass things and propose things all over the place every day and not even think about it and have this 24-hour news cycle where it's like bam, 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 bam.
they'll also put like 1,000 things in one bill.
Yeah, these
so they'll
little-
call it. Maybe they have less bills now than they used to, but that's because they've got 500 times the amount of stuff in each bill.
Yeah.
But let's go back to what we were just talking about a moment ago, the collapse of an empire. There's certainly no country when the members of Congress are more concerned with fundraising phone calls than reading the bills. Laws are being passed that no one even knows about. The omnibus spending bill gets brought in a wagon, like it's like a red. They brought it in like on a wagon, 5,000 pages. So when your country's doing that, I'll put it this way, ladies and gentlemen, our members of Congress don't read the bills. They're not there to vote on the bills. There's a porous southern border. So first, we have no legislation. They're not actually doing their job. Next, we have no country. A nation with no border is not a country. That's how country is defined. A nation with defined borders. A nation is a group of people with shared history, culture, and laws. We don't have shared laws anymore. Some states have disregarded half the laws. Sanctuary cities, sanctuary states. I got to tell you, I think the U.S. is basically like someone took a figurative mountain and just splattered it all over the place, and now it's a big random hodgepodge of nonsense. So I mean, look, the Constitution is Swiss cheese. Our politicians don't do their jobs. The Democrats are calling the Supreme Court illegitimate, even though they're functioning as the Constitution dictates. It doesn't matter. None of it matters.
Did you see how they're shipping illegal immigrants? They've been busing illegal immigrants from the southern border to D.C. and other big cities. And they just called in the National Guard in D.C. Miriam Bowser, is it Miriam? Muriel Bowser requested the National Guard to there's like 4,000 immigrants.
When
to
I was
protect.
in Tapachula, I was meeting with a few immigrants that had been deported after a few years in D.C. in the States, because a lot of them have their court cases in D.C. So they know, I'll cross the border and I might get kicked out because I have no standing. I don't even qualify as an economic migrant. I don't qualify as anything. But they know that they'll have to be taken to D.C. to hear whatever case they have for a few years, and they'll get to have a good time there. This one guy I was speaking to was trying to get in, saying he was attacked by gangs, but half of them are actually part of gangs and just try to use a bad experience they had with MS-13, despite being a part of it, to get in. And he's like, yep, I'm making my way back up again. At least I'll get to spend a few years in D.C., waiting on my trial. Will be fun. I'll get some food and board. Good time.
I can't be mad about this because the cat crawled in my lap, and so I'm just
Peace.
Yeah, it's
Dr.
like
Evil it
the
up over
story should be really disconcerting and distressing, but I just
You kind of look like Dr. Evil, though,
Yeah,
over
I know.
there. Just
What
putting
I'm saying.
someone
Look at
said,
his face.
"Good evening, Mr. Bond.
Yeah.
I've been expecting you."
Yes.
Yeah, people, more cats. Adopt a cat.
Yes.
One thing that's really
Taxo
interesting to look
plasmosis.
at,
Oh, look at this guy.
beyond cat conversations. One thing that's really interesting to look at is I think it's the Syracuse Institute that cover it. The level of what judges allow migrants in versus which ones don't. You can look at some of the comparisons, and there'll be some judges that accept like 99% of applicants and some that reject 99% and only accept 1%. It is actually just a game of luck. It's like going to a freaking casino, whether you're going to get in or not. You can compare like female judges to male judges, which county they're in, and has almost nothing to do with the application that these migrants put in or illegals put in, and everything to do with the judge's feelings.
Will there be people that come and try and get legal recourse, they get denied, and then they just come back and try to go to a different judge?
Get a different judge, basically, and they can get it in the next time.
I'm concerned because what is the solution? Like globalization on some level is functionable. You know, we're expansionist by nature. I think expanding liberal democracy, Americanism, whatever, the U.S. Constitution could be good. But like, how do you defend? I know one way to defend a border that the Romans tried. I mean, it used to be pretty brutal, and that's not
Soldiers.
Yeah, weaponry.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.